Welcome to Skinner and Chalmers' Weekly Roast. Today, the curse of the canned abyss.
Greetings and salutations, podcast aficionados. Welcome back to Skinner and Chalmers' Weekly Roast, the only podcast brave enough to explore the truly important questions in life, like whether a Roomba can unionize. Still under review, folks.
Indeed, Seymour, indeed. And this week, we have a tale that's less about labor rights for robotic vacuum cleaners and more about, well, let's just say it involves culinary adventures or misadventures depending on your perspective.
Culinary misadventures, you say. Is this about my latest attempt at steamed something? Because I maintain, Gary, that burned offerings are a time-honored tradition.
No, Seymour, not this time, though your experimental cuisine is always a potential source of podcast material. No, this is about something I discovered quite by accident, actually. You know how I sometimes pop into that little gourmet import shop near the town square. Exotic Eats and Curiosities, run by that rather enthusiastic badger, Barnaby.
Barnabas? Oh yes, I remember Barnaby. Last time I went in there, he tried to sell me petrified griffin droppings as artisanal fertilizer. Said it was essential for prize-winning petunias.
That sounds like Barnaby. Well, I was browsing his shelves, looking for, I don't know, something to spice up our usual Tuesday night bean curd surprise, not literally spice up your attempts of course, dear.
Oh, very funny. My bean curd surprise is a culinary masterpiece in progress. It's just still progressing, perhaps indefinitely.
Quite right. Anyway, I stumbled upon this can. It was tucked away on a bottom shelf, almost hidden behind a stack of pickled gherkins from Planet Siler. And the name Seymour, the name just jumped out at me.
Ooh, mysterious. Lay it on me, Gary. Was it eldritch eggplant? Forbidden fig fritters?
Even more intriguing, my dear, it was called cannabis.
What, cannabis? Good heavens, something like that in Memfield. I didn't know, is it some sort of existential soup?
Existential soup, no, it wasn't soup. It was vegetarian chili.
Vegetarian chili called cannabis. That's quite a marketing strategy, isn't it? Case the green, now with beans.
Exactly. I thought it was wonderfully bizarre, and knowing my penchant for the peculiar, I simply had to get it. The label promised a depth of flavor that plumbs the darkest trenches of taste, and a spice blend that whispers secrets of forgotten infernos.
Forgotten infernos, eh? Sounds spicy. Did it have a picture of a volcano on it? Because if it did, Crocodile might get jealous.
No volcano, thankfully. The artwork was, well, gothic, I suppose. Dark swirls, shadowy figures. A rather unsettling font. It looked like something you'd find in a haunted delicacy.
A haunted delicatessen. Memfield really does have everything, doesn't it? So, you bought this cannabis chili. What were you thinking? Were you planning some sort of abyssal, theme dinner party?
Not quite a dinner party. I just thought it sounded interesting. And vegetarian? You know I'm trying to incorporate more plant-based meals into our diet. Seymour, for health reasons, and, of course, for ethical considerations, saving the climate, you know the drill.
Slightly sad. Oh yes, ethical considerations and climate indeed, especially nowadays a very important topic if we want to stop destroying our world even more for the next generations. And additionally, it's always a bit awkward serving sausages when Gizmo is giving you those soulful alligator eyes. Though, to be fair, he'd probably eat the sausages even faster if they were made of pieces of Sonic's hedge.
Seymour, please, let's not dwell on that image. The point is, I thought this chili would be a nice, flavorful, tea-vegetarian option. I pictured us enjoying it with some crusty bread, maybe a dollop of sour cream, a cozy evening in Memfield.
Cozy evenings are always appreciated, Gary, especially after dealing with, well, Memfield High on a Monday. Though, cannabis still strikes me as an odd name for a cozy meal. It sounds more like, I don't know, something you'd find in Roboskinner's pantry, but not in a responsible Memfield.
Perhaps, but I assure you it was in the vegetarian chili section, right next to the Zen Zucchini Zing and the peaceful pea pot. Quite a contrast, really.
Peaceful pea pot. Now that sounds like my kind of chili. Maybe something you could find in Melissa's store. Gentle, unassuming, unlikely to trigger any unexpected culinary hallucinations.
Culinary hallucinations? Seymour, what are you talking about? It's just some chili labeled canned abbies.
Oh, wait, you mean it's not cannabis?
What? Seymour, what is going on here?
Lowering voice, conspiratorially Gary, when you said cannabis, and you described the label with the dark swirls and the unsettling font, and you bought it from Barnaby's, did it by any chance occur to you that abyss sounds rather a lot like cannabis?
Pause, then bursts out laughing in cannabis. Seymour, are you suggesting you thought I bought us a can of cannabis chili?
Well, it wasn't entirely unreasonable, was it? Cannabis, from a quirky import shop in Memfield, where anything is possible, and you were talking about infernos and secrets. It sounded rather coded.
Coded? Seymour, it's chili, vegetarian Charlie. I was excited about trying a new flavor, not embarking on some psychedelic culinary journey.
Slightly embarrassed. Oh, well, when you put it like that, but still, cannabis, it's a bit dramatic for just chili, don't you think?
That's what made it intriguing. I thought it would be a fun, slightly edgy vegetarian dinner option. I certainly wasn't expecting this level of misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding is my middle name, Gary. Seymour Misunderstanding Skinner. It's a family tradition. Remember the time I thought steamed hams was a new type of exercise equipment?
Oh, Seymour, that was something else. You were trying to do bicep curls with a plate of steamed hams. And then you tried to explain to Superintendent Chalmers, me, that it was performance art.
It was performance art, avant-garde culinary fitness. Ahead of its time, I tell you.
Right. Avant-garde. Anyway, back to the canned abis. So I brought it home, quite pleased with my adventurous vegetarian find. I was telling you all about it, the flavor profile, the exotic spices, and you were rather quiet.
Quiet and observant. I was trying to gauge the situation, Gary. You were so enthusiastic about this canned abis, but I was picking up on subtle hints. The way you kept mentioning infernos and depths, it all sounded rather intense for a Tuesday night supper.
Intense flavor, Seymour, intense flavor. I was just excited about trying something new and spicy. I even thought we could have Sonic and Shadow over. They both appreciate a bit of culinary excitement.
Our eyes widening Sonic and Shadow. You were going to share the cannabis with Sonic and Shadow. Gary, do you realize the potential implications? Sonic's already energetic enough without, and Shadow, who knows what existential angst a can of that might unleash in him.
Laughing harder, Seymour, you are painting the most ridiculous picture. Sonic zooming around Memfield in a chili-induced frenzy. Shadow having an even deeper existential crisis. It's absurd. It's just jelly. Just jelly.
Still slightly suspicious, but you bought it from Barnaby's. He sells everything. Petrified griffin droppings, self-folding laundry, sentient sporks, anything is possible in that shop.
Other sighing playfully, Seymour. Sometimes your imagination runs away with you like Cosmo chasing a laser pointer. It's vegetarian chili, I promise. Look, I still have the can right here. Cannabis, vegetarian chili. Ingredients: tomatoes, beans, ghost peppers, abyssal spices. See ghost peppers, abyssal spice, further descriptions. Perfectly normal. Chili-related terminology, not cannabis.
Squinting at imaginary can, ghost peppers, abyssal spices. Ghost peppers are quite potent, aren't they? I remember that time Swampy brought over those ghost pepper poppers. My eyebrows didn't recover for a week.
Spicy, flavorful, exciting. That's what I was going for. And you apparently were going for something entirely different that day. Pray to tell our listeners.
Our clearing throat. Well, in my defense, Gary, cannabis does sound rather ominous. And you were being so mysterious about it. You just said you had a surprise for dinner. And then you produced this dark, gothic can with a name that suggests the end of all things.
I suppose I can see your point. The marketing team behind canned abis might have gone a bit overboard. But really, Seymour, you thought I was bringing home illicit substances hidden in chili cans. After all these years.
Are slightly sheepish. Well, Memfield does have a certain anything goes vibe, doesn't it? And you are rather fond of quirky discoveries. And Barnaby's, well, Barnaby's is Barnaby's. So yeah, I still thought it was cannabis.
Barnaby's is Barnaby's, that's certainly true. But this time it was just chili, and a rather potent chili, as it turns out. But before we get to the potency, let's rewind a bit. You were convinced I had brought home something special, or better to stay, cannabis. What exactly were you planning to do?
Well, I thought perhaps we should sample it. Discreetly. For quality control purposes.
Are raising an eyebrow. Quality control. Seymour, you were going to sample it. How exactly? Were you planning to taste a spoonful?
Not exactly. I was thinking more along the lines of a more traditional method of sampling such substances.
Traditional method? Seymour, are you suggesting you were going to try to smoke the chili?
Well, it seemed efficient and discreet and in keeping with the abyss theme, perhaps.
Stares at Skinner, then bursts into uproarious laughter. Seymour, you tried to smoke the chili. You thought cannabis, vegetarian chili, was smokable. Oh, Seymour, that's magnificent.
It wasn't entirely illogical. You brought home a can called cannabis from Barnaby's. You were acting shifty, and you kept talking about infernos. What was I supposed to think? I was just trying to be proactive.
Proactive? By attempting to ignite a can of vegetarian chili? Seymour, sometimes I swear your brain operates on a completely different plane of reality.
Slightly offended, my brain is perfectly functional. It just explores unconventional possibilities. It's called creative problem solving.
Still chuckling, creative problem solving that involves setting fire to canned goods. Right then, so walk me through it. What happened next?
Well, you were still going on about bowls and sour cream, completely oblivious to the potential gravity of the situation. And Dobwas started squawking about crackers again, and Krakatoa rumbled a bit, probably sensing the culinary tension in the air.
Krakatoa always rumbles when there's culinary tension. He's a very sensitive volcano.
Indeed. So, while you were distracted by Dobwa's cracker demands and Krakatoa's seismic commentary, I took action. I grabbed the can, you see.
You grabbed the can, and then?
Slightly embarrassed it, and then I may have attempted to facilitate the sampling process.
Urging him on facilitate. Seymour, please just tell me. Did you try to roll it? Did you try to bake it into cookies? What was your plan?
No cookies. Too time-consuming. I was going for efficiency. I thought perhaps a makeshift of pipe or direct application of flame.
Direct application of flame? Seymour, you didn't. You didn't try to light the chili on fire inside the can.
Well, yes. I may have produced a match and attempted ignition.
A match? Seymour, you tried to light vegetarian chili with a match. Expecting what exactly? A plume of chili smoke? A mystical vegetarian vapor?
I wasn't entirely sure what to expect, but I thought if it was that kind of abyss, then perhaps combustion was involved, and I wanted to be prepared.
Still laughing, prepared for what? To battle the chili fumes? To wrestle with the ghost pepper spirits?
I just wanted to understand the situation, Gary, and you weren't being helpful with all your talk of sour cream, so I struck the match.
Holding his breath dramatically, yes.
And, well, it didn't exactly ignite. Chili, as it turns out, is not particularly flammable. Who knew?
Shocking, isn't it, that you actually can't burn something? That canned, water-based food doesn't readily burst into flames.
Ignoring the sarcasm, but there were fumes. Oh, Gary, the fumes. As the match flickered near the open can, this wave of chili vapor erupted. It was like opening a portal to the ghost pepper dimension.
The chili vapor? What happened? Did you inhale it?
Inhale it. Gary, I practically mainlined it. It was like a chili-infused foghorn aimed directly at my nostrils. I wasn't expecting it, you see. I was leaning in, trying to get a closer look, to see if there were any visual cues, any telltale signs of abyss-ness. And then bam, chili cloud to the face.
Oh, Seymour! Chili cloud to the face? That sounds intense.
Coughing dramatically for effect. Intense is an understatement. It was like 1,000 tiny ghost peppers tap, dancing on my sinuses. My eyes started watering, my throat constricted. I think I actually saw sparks for a moment there.
Are concerned, but still amused sparks, Seymour. Are you exaggerating?
Exaggerating, Gary, I experienced a near-death chili experience. I inhaled pure, unadulterated, cannabis, fumes. It was otherworldly.
And then what? Did you have a vision? Did you see the abyss? Did you meet any chili demons?
Eyes widening demons. No demons, thankfully. But visions, yes. Oh yes, visions! It all went a bit hazy after the chilly cloud assault. Colors started swirling. The room seemed to breathe. Cosmo and the puppies, they started bouncing in slow motion like furry, orb-shaped tumbleweeds in a desert of chilly fumes.
They're trying to picture it at Cosmo and the puppies in slow motion. That's quite a mental image. And then the visions started. What did you see?
Air voice becoming slightly dreamy. Steamed hams, Gary. Steamed hams everywhere. But not just ordinary steamed hams. These were ethereal steamed hams. Glowing, iridescent, hovering in the air like culinary constellations.
Culinary constellations of steamed hams? Seymour, are you sure you just inhaled chili and not something else entirely?
It was the chili, Gary. The cannabis chili. It unlocked hidden dimensions of flavor. And steamed hams, they were morphing, you see. Transforming. Their steamed ham essency, it was coalescing.
Coalescing into what? Don't leave me in suspense, Seymour. What did the steamed hams become?
A voice dropping to a dramatic whisper. Steamfulu, Gary. Steamfulu, the great old one of steamed hams.
Steamfulu. Oh, Seymour, you are killing me, Steamfulu, the eldritch horror made of steamed hams.
It was real, Gary. I saw him. Tentacles of glistening steamed ham, writhing and pulsing. Eyes like glowing gas burners, staring into my very soul. And a chef's hat, Gary? A tiny, adorable chef's hat perched atop his ham-like head.
Are wiping tears from his eyes, a chef's hat on Steamfulu. Oh, this is too much. And what did Steamfulu do? Did he demand sacrifices of mustard and rye bread? Did he threaten to unleash a plague of burnt, crusty burgers?
Shaking his head, no sacrifices. He spoke, in a voice like sizzling bacon and an existential dread. He said, Gads, my roast is eldritch.
Egads, my roast is eldritch. Seymour, that's the most wonderfully absurd thing I've ever heard. Steamfulu lamenting his eldritch roast.
It was profound, Gary, in a chili-induced steamed ham-themed sort of way. And then I think he multiplied. There were dozens of Steamfulus swirling around me, chanting in Simlish, I think.
Simlish? Steamfulu chanting in Simlish? This is podcast gold, Seymour. Pure, unadulterated podcast gold.
Rubbing his temples, it was a lot, Gary. A lot of steamed ham, a lot of Simlish chanting, a lot of eldritch roast anxiety. And then it just faded. The Steamfulus vanished, the colors stopped swirling. Cosmo and the puppies went back to bouncing at normal speed. And I was left covered in chili.
Covered in chili? You actually physically interacted with the chili during your Steamfulu vision.
Apparently, there seems to be spillage and aroma. I may smell faintly of abyssal spices and existential steamed ham.
You do have a certain, Jeannie says coy, a certain chili-infused mystique. But seriously, Seymour, you had a full-blown hallucination from inhaling chili fumes.
A Steamfulu-grade hallucination, Gary. Brought to you by cannabis, vegetarian chili, and my own overactive imagination.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. And all because you thought I had bought us a can of well, you know.
Well, the name was misleading, and Barnaby's is Barnaby's. And you were being cryptic. It was a perfect storm of culinary misunderstanding.
A culinary misunderstanding that resulted in you battling Steamfulu and his army of Simlish chanting ham tentacles. I think this story might just top the steamed hams. Workout incident, Seymour.
I suppose it does have a certain epic absurdity to it, but it was quite disconcerting at the time. Gary, especially the Simlish chanting. I haven't heard Simlish that intense since Echo's last attempt at karaoke night.
For Echo, her Simlish is enthusiastic, if not entirely accurate. But you know what, Seymour? Despite the chili fumes, the Steamfulu visions, and the general chaos, this whole cannabis saga has been rather entertaining.
Entertaining in retrospect, perhaps. At the time, it felt more like a spicy descent into madness. But I suppose that's Memfield for you, isn't it? Even our vegetarian chili comes with a side of existential dread and eldritch entities.
Exactly. Memfield, where the chili is always an adventure. And you know what? I think we should still try the canned Abis properly this time. In bowls with sour cream. No matches involved. No inhaling fumes.
Are you sure, Gary? After my experience, are you not concerned about unleashing further Steamthulian manifestations?
Smiling reassuringly, don't worry, Seymour. I think we've already faced the worst of the canned Abis. And now that we know it's just chili, albeit incredibly potent chili, I think we can handle it. Besides, I'm curious about those abyssal spices. And maybe, just maybe, a little bit of Steamthulian flavor might actually be delicious.
Intrigued despite himself Steamthulian flavor, perhaps with a side of eldritch roast.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, Seymour. Let's just start with the chili, and maybe, just maybe, we should read the label a bit more closely this time, especially the part about the ghost peppers, and perhaps a warning label for those prone to culinary misunderstandings and steam-sulu hallucinations.
A warning label is definitely in order. Caution. May cause spontaneous steam flu manifestations, not for smoking. May contain traces of existential dread.
Perfect. We'll have to suggest that to Barnaby. He's always looking for ways to enhance the customer experience.
Indeed. Well, listeners, there you have it. The tale of the canned Abis, the chili that almost drove your hosts to madness, and introduced us to the culinary deity known as Steamthulu. We hope you found it enlightening, or at least amusingly absurd.
And remember, folks, always read the label, especially when dealing with suspiciously named vegetarian chili from Memfield. And maybe, just maybe, keep the matches away from the canned goods. You never know what eldritch entities might be lurking within.
Until next time, stay spicy, stay safe, and try to avoid inhaling chili fumes. And if you do happen to encounter Steamthulu, tell him we said gads. Your roast is eldritch. He'll appreciate the reference.
Goodbye, listeners, and happy chili adventures if you dare.